If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today's November 13th, 2020, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching Bitcoin continue to surge higher, and we've been tracking this for a few days already. Said that it is in a tear. So we're going to take a look at that in just a second. But looking at the economic events of the day, just one event coming out of the United States. It's Michigan consumer confidence number, consumer sentiment. It's a very important number. It's up there with NFP, FOMC. It's just as important and can shake and rattle the market. So you do want to know what's coming out. Now looking at the markets, the dollar continues to strengthen versus the major pairs. While we're watching the Dow Jones sell off, the NASDAQ still looks steady despite the fact that the Dow Jones sold off over 300 points yesterday. Commodities are pretty much unchanged. While we look at the stocks, they continue that rotation. Yesterday, we had the FANG stocks actually sell off and then rally towards the end of the day. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, continues to push higher. So it's kind of interesting that Bitcoin has become the safe haven investment in this environment that we're trading in. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to take a look first at the Euro USD, and you can see we're pretty much in a very tight range. I mean, looking at over the past day, we're in a 20 pip range, so really nothing major happening there. Now, if we look at a shorter time frame, you'll see it a little bit clearer. You know, in a 4-hour range, you see that we're really in a very, very choppy market right now in terms of trading the Euro USD. When we look at some of the other pairs, okay, the GBP USD continues to weaken versus the USD. If we take a look at that, just 1 second, let's just bring it up. We got a lot of graphs off. Looking at the GBP USD, you see that actually we bounced yesterday 3103, but to 3142, still a very, very tight range. Okay, so this is really an area where it's not so tradable. Now jumping into the Rand, you saw pretty much flatline here at 1564. Didn't get that bounce that I expected it to 1580, 1590-ish level. So with that said, there's still room for this to actually get stronger. Now jumping into the Turkish Lira, this has been really interesting this week as it's gotten much stronger over the fact that there's a shakeup in the financial sector of changing some of the officers there. We're trading at 763. Now we do have way to go here. If we can continue strengthening here, definitely see it back in that 733-ish level. That's where I would suppose it'll go. Now we're looking at a daily chart. Over the last 3 days, we've seen it actually continue to strengthen versus the US dollar. But after the third day, I do expect a little bit of short covering, so we may get a bounce. So just be aware of that. Now jumping in commodities, there's really not much to write home about. You know, gold is trading at 1780-ish level, then right in 1876-ish level, 79-ish level, but really nothing to really write home about. Oil sold off this week, okay, about $1, okay, but really exactly nothing to write home about, as all the news is really pretty much factored in. Okay, the fact that Europe is in a second closure, the fact the United States is still in limbo, partially because of what's going on with the elections there or post-elections, okay, that could actually get messy. So you do want to know that you want to keep your eye on that, okay, despite the fact that Joe Biden or President-elect Joe Biden won the elections in the United States. I think there's going to be a lot of controversy as to whether or not that had any kind of ballot issues. And believe you me, okay, if anybody knows the personality of Donald Trump, he's not going to let it go. Okay, so that could actually develop into something that's ugly in the next 30 to 60 days. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay, now we're jumping into the Dow Jones. Yesterday we tapered off. I mean, but this is not a massive sell, I would say, but it did sell off. Okay, we sold off from about 29,200-ish level down to capitulating down to 28,800-ish level, a total of 400 points, and then we bounced. And right now we're at par, 29,000 flat. Okay, now we did hit a high of 30,000 on Monday, if you remember that. And so this is completely natural for it to, you know, kind of sell off. Now we're about 50% of that surge, okay, from 28,200-ish level, okay, to 30,000. So we're about below that. So I do expect a little bit of a bounce today. Now you do want to keep your eye on this consumer sentiment today, okay, coming out of 3 o'clock South African time, because this can shake and rattle the markets in either direction. Okay, if there is some tremendous confidence in the economy, you'll see that, you know, the markets will rebound. Okay, the markets are looking to rebound. Okay, especially in this environment that we're currently in. Now, looking and dissecting at the specific stocks. Okay, but before that, let's jump into the NASDAQ. I just want to highlight this. When the market sold off yesterday, the NASDAQ did not. Okay, so is it changing character now? Is it now the strong one and the Dow Jones is the weak one? Something to ponder and something to look. But you've got to keep an eye on the individual stocks to see if that's actually happening. So looking at Apple, yesterday we kind of sold at 117. Again, nothing major, okay, but it's been a major rally from its 105 low and its high of 132. So just be aware that we're about midpoint there. Looking at Facebook, we retraced to that support level of 273. Looking at Microsoft, same story. We're trading at 215, 214-ish level at that supportish level. Okay, so it's something to consider later today. Now looking at Alcoa, it's on that resistance at 16 and did sell off. Okay, so it did have that retracement at that level. Now I do expect it to have some amount of resistance here at 16. Jumping into Amazon, okay, pretty much unchanged at 3,100. If we look at JP Morgan, it did sell off into the 111 and then bouncing off of it. So some strength there. Now, the real main focus, okay, if we look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been in play over the past 3 weeks. I've been watching it since it hit October 19th. And you could refer back to my daily review, and I did mention this. Once it breaks out, it will break out, okay? And sure enough, it's gone over 5,000 points since October 19th, okay? That's less than a month ago, 5,000 points. You know, that gives you oodles of opportunities, even in a small account. Okay, I was actually watching some documentary yesterday, DW documentary, on the fact that a guy started an account trading Bitcoin with $250. The guy became a millionaire. Okay, so it is doable. Okay, even if you don't make $1 million, wouldn't you want to make $10,000 trading it? Okay, this is a clear example where if you just trade the technicals, you trade the breakout, you could have made some really serious money, okay? And, you know, the question is how much further are we going to go? So instead of me promoting, you know, the markets, let's look at it, all right? Right now, we are hitting a bit of a resistance here, okay? Because this was a previous bounce that we had after the sell-off in 2017. We had a massive rally. If you guys remember, in December of 2017, we hit 20,000, okay, and then retraced back. So this is a resistance level here at 1643. After we retrace, we bounce to 16,000-ish level, which we are right now. So I do expect a little bit of a resistance here. However, if it does break this resistance, I expect it to go higher. And maybe we'll even hit 20,000 by the end of the year, okay? That's only about 40 days away. So with that said, this still does have some oomph to get higher, okay? Now, as gold is kind of the less attractive safe haven investment right now because inflation seems to be in check, this actually may be the very interesting asset that's going to go higher and be the 2020 asset of the year. Okay, so something to consider going into the end of the year. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.